for a magic lesson. I can forge weapons. You come back alive.
That was what he said.
I can forge weapons. You come back alive.
That was what he said.
Yes. I'll jump on the side and hide my face away to give you the full screen.
Hello, Kyle, would you record this?
Yeah. As long as I remember to press the button. So just press it now. Okay. Yeah, start recording. Now, hi everybody. Oh, I just lost connection there. Can you okay? I think there's a lot of streaming going on in my house. I think I'll wear my children. What are we like number-wise? I know we have a few people can't make it. Give it a couple of minutes just for them to join. I think it just started snowing outside my window here. Jesus. Snow? It's either snow or it's sleet, but I'm just looking at the window here like, oh no. What part of the world again? Dungannon? Oh, right, okay. Like white. Oh, there's Linda, the guy that sent me a memory. Not sure whether he's going to join us or not. There he is. It's because, yes, I actually meant to message you about that because it looked really bad. But I had a demo and then he sacked me off. So I'm able to join. Right. But, no, I just took it as well. Kyle might be able to fit in on see. Get me assistant. It is around lunchtime, we might be busy. So, glad to be here. Great. Right, what do you think? Will we kick off? Jed, I always look to you for guidance in these things, I think. Like number-wise.
I think we're at about 36, so we definitely are missing a few, but we'll probably make a start in a minute.
Okay, well, sure. Give it another minute, and then we are recording, so I'll share the slides that go through. Anyway, straight afterwards. slides. All right, thanks everybody for joining us. I know everybody is incredibly busy at the minute. There's an awful lot going on, and there's an awful lot going on in everybody's world. Certainly a lot of the stuff that me, Jez, Chris, everywhere there's lots going on. But look, it's all good. I suppose this really follows on the last subject. Whenever we wanted to share some of the things that we've been working on, some of the plans for Bluetech this year, and it has taken a little bit longer than expected. So hence we're into March. But the selling is the most stuff, so it's fine. I will share my screen and just check off the show. So there we go. Moved on from the slide deck. Thought it would get a little bit creative this time. So look, we'll jump straight into it. I suppose a little bit on, let's start with sort of the big picture stuff. So what's happening? What are we doing in 2021? I suppose I put that in there about getting better. We always want to try and be better. We do best in things differently. Always look at ourselves and say, right, what's next? And we've been doing a lot of that. A bit of context, which is really, really important. I know I have said this before, and one of these days I will stop saying it, but genuinely, we're looking forward very confidently, thanks to all the hard work that went into the last year. We know all the challenges, etc. But now, because of that, we've been through it well, we can now look forward positively and with confidence and look at all the different things that are in front of us. As you've been listening to any of the updates, we always look for opportunities, whether it's TM3, whether it's with our corporate clients, Australia, or new markets. We've talked about mental health in a little bit. So there are loads and loads of opportunities. Okay? And what we have been doing, sort of at the board level, is trying to plan, right, what do we do? So with all the opportunities in front of us, we can't do everything at once. So what do we do? How do we go about doing it? And then what team do we need? Okay? So that's what a lot of the work has been in the last few months for us. It's worth pointing out at this stage, there's a lot of work has gone into looking at, I suppose, what we've called the full financial impact of COVID last year. And Ellen and Ronnie have done an awful lot of work on that in the last few months. And we now have a very clear understanding of what that is. Now, obviously, whenever we were having updates last year and at the start of this year, we got through COVID very well last year. And what we mean by that is obviously, everybody's still here. We continue to grow. Yes, there was obviously the challenges of last year, but we're in a good place. Okay. Needless to say, naturally there was a financial impact, but we've got through that. Now, when we've had that analysis, and essentially saying, right, well, where are we today compared to where we had planned to be? That's kind of the conversation we've been having. And now that we know the information about that, that shapes what we do, how we grow this year, what we focus on, etc., etc. So, the plans that we had literally 12 months ago, almost today, have changed quite dramatically. So we've been sort of working through that and really planning from there. And it's worth emphasising we are in a fortunate position to say that we can now invest again with our products and in our team. Okay, so that's a really good position to be in as a company. And Ronnie's going to talk through some numbers here at the minute. And I suppose, when we start to hear numbers, some of them sound quite big numbers. Do bear in mind what we just said, which is we're able to bear these changes and look forward and invest in new things. So, Ronnie, I'll fill up the graph here. Do you want to just have a quick rumble through that.
Certainly. So I think the bottom line in all of this is actually, given COVID, this is a good news story, really. As a company, we did remarkably well. I think a few people have been asking me about, what is the impact. So the easiest way sometimes is just to show a graph. What this is showing is kind of the revenue, so the money that we invoice out over the period of time that we've been in COVID. So you can see, first of all, without even looking at the figures, in lockdown 1, there was a huge drop, and basically that reflected the fact that loads of our clients just stopped using the system, reduced their licenses that they were using, and also stopped booking appointments. And I think that drop would have been a lot lower had it not been for the fantastic work that the teams did, sort of pulling together and making sure that people didn't cancel, but actually they reduced their licenses and we supported them through it. But it still was a large impact for us. Now, possibly the important figure is sort of, well, where are we now? So you can see that has come back up. So people have started to use the system more. Physios now are offering a lot more appointments, whether that was virtual appointments or face-to-face. But we're still actually not back up to where we were this time last year. Now, financially, for those who like the figures, we're about £16,000 a month below where we were last year, which is just under about £200,000 for the year. Now, that doesn't take into account the fact that we didn't grow. We would have normally have grown last year as well, so there's actually a bigger impact for 2021. So we've almost gone back to 2019 from a revenue perspective. However, we have got through it. We're absolutely in fine fettle, ready to move forward. The important thing is, physios, when they do open, will start booking more appointments. So they will need more licensing, they will send more text messages, and that number will come back up to more a normal position, and then we can continue to grow from there. So it's, we took a hit, quite a substantial hit, but we weathered the storm really well. And say all of the things that we did last year are paying dividends, and now we're in a good position to grow again. So as I say, it's overall a really good news story.
Okay. And just for anybody who's maybe only looking at the lines, it's worth noting the axis on the left-hand side. That isn't zero, so we didn't go down.
No, no.
It's zero. Everything's relevant on that. So I suppose that's useful, maybe just to give a bit of a feel for what we have to do to kind of look after the company and make sure we're making the right decisions. And as Ronnie said, without all your work last year, that debt will strain an awful lot more. And where we are now, we can grow again. And as I say, that's a brilliant position to be in. And we haven't, had to change the teams in any way. The only way we're changing them is to make them bigger, which I'll get on to. So, as Ronnie said, some people like figures, want to sort of have an interest in that sort of thing. So, that's just a wee bit of a fix for that.
Jez has his hand up there. Do you want to?
I can't see him.
Thank you, Ronnie. I was just going to add a little bit to the graph as well. Obviously, it's much easier right now looking back at history. When we were sort of in the thick of COVID, we as a company had to make difficult decisions. You can see how sort of sharp that drop was back in the beginning around March and April, and that coincided in us having to make the decisions around furloughing certain parts of the company and things like that. So part of the recovery, although this is only looking at subscriptions and revenue, but part of the wider recovery for the company was the fact that we made those decisions, but then we were able, as things were returning there, that you can see sort of in the summer, to bring people back. And I think that's really important to understand, is that we didn't make any decisions lightly, and we brought everybody back as quickly as possible. And again, to confirm sort of Kyle's message about, we're investing in building on the future because we believe things are going to bounce back even further. So I think just to give some sort of context around this is great looking back at history, but in the thick of it, we as directors all had to make some interesting and difficult decisions, but they've played out well, and the future's looking really bright. So.
Okay, thanks. So somebody shout if people put their hand up, because I can't see it because I'm actually presenting at the minute. So, okay, right, just moving on. So, as we said, sort of before the graph there, it was right. What are we going to do this year? How are we going to do it? How do we get better? What do we need? So, a couple of key things. To get across, and some of these, I know you might say it's kind of stating the obvious, but it's really important, that we have these as principles, so that whenever we're looking at, what we do this year and what we spend money on, etc., that we have something to sort of attach them to. So again, we need to really focus on. We know product quality is really important, but also product development. So. For example, this time last year we were literally launching, I think TM3 Connect might have been practically to the day. Big investment in TM3 and functionality, and of course there's more to do there. This year we're investing again in products and making sure that we move things on, and I'll get on to that a little bit later. We need to make sure that the project side of the business, that we keep delivering those. We have some very important clients. I'm going to talk about corporate separately, but we have important clients, and there's lots to do, and there's lots of people who would like us to work for them. So we need to make sure we can do that and do that in the right way. And then as well, making sure that the service we provide across the board is good and that we have happy clients. Okay, so that's kind of the high-level aims. We're going to reorganize slightly to do this, okay, which is what I'm going to talk about. Part of the exercise we have been going through the last number of months is to really, look at what gaps do we have. So, looking at the company and then say, right, well, if we are to grow and improve and be better, who do we need or what do we need? As opposed to saying, right, well, we've got this team and let's just move people around. So we have identified gaps, and we already have some new faces, and there are more to come. Okay. So I suppose the changes that we need, probably the easiest way to summarise them. For many years, we've sort of looked at BlueZinc as a company as sort of there's two main sort of parts. Obviously, it's got to be linked on one company and common technology platform and all of those things. But really, it was off-the-shelf products, which has sort of been TM3 up to now, and then projects. Okay, so it's sort of been those two areas. Now, I suppose what we want to make sure is that product development does get the attention that it needs, and that has its own team, okay, that sits outside both product, outside projects. Okay, so new product development team is led by Chris. As we know, Chris does a million things in BlueZinc, so this certainly isn't the only thing that he will be doing. But he's looking after this group, and Connor is now moving into a position where he's taking a more strategic view of products, and obviously has done a lot of fantastic work on TM3, and we now need to look at the other products that we have, especially Caseflow, Pronto, and new product coming on board, Click, because we have this common technology platform here, and we need to look at not just what we're doing in one area, but how that affects other areas as well. So there's also mention there about what we're calling core, and core is essentially the parts of the system that affect both. Some very obvious areas that, and this is where Connor is ideally placed to say, if we look at, say, template editor, we're making changes to template editor. It's going to affect TM3 people, but it's also going to affect Caseflow people. So we need to make sure that we're making the right decisions and have that sort of strategic view. So that's probably one of the main changes. I've got a diagram here that tries to sort of put this in context. around company structure. So there's a few initials against things here, but we don't really need to worry about those too much. It's more just to get across the fact that we now have essentially these three core areas. Okay, we've got off the shelf, which is James's work. There's product development,
3 years.
okay, which is distinct from selling and supporting our off the shelf customers, and is also distinct from corporate world where we have projects to deliver. Okay. I'm going to be talking about corporate a little bit later on. So we now have these three areas. I suppose an important thing to point out here is that product development isn't only development. Okay, there are many things that go into developing products, and we've listed some of the different roles in here. So this is very focused on the roles that we need. Okay, and product development, as we know, is so important, and it needs to be a big focus. Therefore, we want to make sure there's a team that's focused and specifically on that. Now, of course, in reality, there will be overlap, and there will be times when we need people to work in one area or the other. But that's okay, and that is a big part of why we now have Harvest, so that whenever, for example, maybe somebody over in Jez's world spends some time over here, that we know about it, and then that can be used, built in for the planning, etc. that we have in this world. And equally, there could be things that we do over in sort of corporate world that actually counts as product development. Okay. So it's to give us that ability to have focus on product development outside of the pressures of both corporate and corporate shelf. We then obviously have the other parts of the business that remain the same. So governance, finance, and HR structure. So we've spoken to really anybody who's kind of affected by these changes. We've explained these, but we now want supposed to share out wider across the company. Naturally, you may have questions about this. Now is probably not the best time because we're trying to fit quite a lot of people on the call. But guys, as ever, we're always happy to talk through these things and these changes, because it's really important that we get things right and that we do the right things for losing. You as the team will have so much insight and knowledge, ideas and experience that can all feed into making this work. So if you do have questions, or you want to make suggestions or anything like that, do come to us because we're all ears to make this work. But that's kind of the main sort of change that we're talking about here, which is that team in the centre. Okay. So just moving on then. I can't see anybody putting their hand up, so I'll assume unless somebody shouts out that you're happy for me to move on. What we'll do now, Jez is going to talk through sort of TM3 and Australia stuff. Hopefully this will go smoothly. I am Jez's beautiful assistant, and I'm Jez's Debbie McGee to his Paul Daniels. So I'm going to press a button, and then Jez is going to talk, and hopefully this will all go smoothly. Yes, Jez?
Yes, indeed, Carl.
Say yes, Paul.
Let's see what happens. So, press away, please.
Okay.
Carl said it, we've said it a million times, we all know it's been challenging over the last 12 months or so. Just another chance to say a big thank you to everybody who helped in every different way possible. Quick recap for you. We upgraded 236 clinics into the new world of Connect, which is an incredible feat. We then sold to 173 new clients. This is all in the setting of COVID. And of course, it's not just about selling and upgrading. All of those clients needed supporting, marketing too, helping with finances, etc., etc. So it's really quite incredible feat across the company in those times, especially as some of the teams were reduced numbers for a period of time. So just another chance to say a big thank you to that. we all know that literally the birth of Connect was straight into the eye of the storm, or maybe on the crest of the wave of the storm. Now, what I think is really interesting is that Connect obviously took time to conceive, took time to design, build, and release. So the work that we did, not necessarily in 2020, but in 2019 itself, really is what has set us up to get through the storm so well, and will continue to help us grow in this year. So one of the jobs that we're doing at the moment is to find out what we need to be doing right now that will have impact not just this year, but the year after, and so on and so forth. So these are big decisions, and sometimes they take a little bit longer than we'd all like, but it's important strategically. So Connect is a significant step forwards for the company as a whole, I feel. As we all know, we build something shiny, new and beautiful, and we put it out to the market, and people kick it and pull it, and occasionally bits need a little bit of repair, a little bit of improvement. So again, we just perhaps need to look back and think what the enormous addition to our estate Connect is. And of course with that comes some complexities, and I think we're very good at focusing in on the immediate issues, distracting and sometimes quite frankly not very pleasant, but we need to sort of get our heads out of perhaps the short term. Yes, we need to fix things, but we need to look to the medium and long term, and this is a sound base to come from. We've got resources that we can commit to improving and making it mature even further. So I think we're probably feeling a bit of pain right now, but there will be better times ahead. Yeah, again, just backing up there around try and focus on quality. Will clients be ever happy is always a question I think I ask myself most mornings. We need to respect them to their clients and to each other. Find what clients are. People make many demands upon us, even when they're not necessarily to do with us. So some of you may or may not know, but there was an outage yesterday around Virgin Media, which had knock-on effects to some BT customers as well. But of course, because we sit at home but not in the office, with our open ears, clients come to us and sort of poke us with fingers and conversations and emails, and it's not always easy to not take that to heart. But we need to continue and realise we're doing great work under difficult circumstances. So that's the bit about keeping clients happy. Yes, a bit of a recap here. It's very easy perhaps to forget, but slides around about 12 months ago that Kyle would have showed you was about a commitment to digital first, about how are we going to learn and respond from COVID so that we were in a better shape to move forward. And in the background, there's been an awful lot of work going on around what we could call digital fulfillment. So that's for clients, but also operationally and internally. So we're still working on that at the moment, but it's nearing some sort of testing status, and we may well see something released, some things released by the end of this month, with some benefits coming shortly afterwards. So one of the high impact areas of COVID was our licensing changes, which under normal circumstances, we'd expect to trickle, and we basically had a tsunami. So we've looked at ways and found solutions for self-management for clients, which will help free up people's times and improve efficiencies so we can focus on looking at the future. So that's one aspect that is certainly taking some time, but start to come to the front in the short to medium term. I think when we get to that point, we'll probably do another release, also not release, an update to people just to sort of show you the benefits, so you can actually see some of the work that goes on in the background. There's a little stat here that I probably should put in the other slide, but it's very easy to focus on and with clients that are causing us issues. But in the other aspects, when we ask about our interaction with our clients on live chat, we still have a 91% positive rating. So I just wanted you to hear some positivity and some numbers for those of you who look after our clients, because it's very easy just to get caught up in the day-to-day people with the loudest voice or those who are complaining. So it's good stuff. Better times will be ahead, I think. As I said earlier, yes, hypersensitive clients and difficult situations for all of us. So please keep an eye and an ear out for your colleagues. We all are sensitive ourselves, and we need to make sure that we're all looking after each other. Yeah, absolutely. So we know there's plenty more to do. Then there will always be more to do. I think it's quite safe to say. And we never rest on our laurels. You know, we pick ourselves up, we march on, but we do it with some technical help and support, which is digital fulfillment.
Okay. There are some of those.
Are you reading the newspaper, Carl?
Just on that last point, guys, I think it's worth emphasising we recognise that everybody is incredibly busy. I said that at the start. So whilst we want to be looking at the future and all the good stuff that's happening, we're also very realistic. We know that people are working incredibly hard at the minute. So that was sort of, when I put that in about not resting in our laurels, we recognise all of the challenges currently, and we're working really hard to address them. Okay, on to sunnier climes then. Australia. Yeah, sorry about you.
Yeah, please press the buttons. So the last time we spoke, I said I had some news from Australia, and it was spring is coming for us, and likewise for them, the seasons are starting to turn, so they're sort of heading out of the warm and sunny patch. But it's all good news from Australia. The team is starting to settle into not quite business as usual. There's still a few things to tick off, but we've started to get some momentum from marketing, for instance. So we never used to have any website traffic at all, and we're now up to around about 1,000 visitors coming through since the beginning of the year. We're starting to see the wheels turn in actually converting those into sales. So UK guys have been helping James out significantly. We're just trickling through the ones and the twos. James has worked on some upgrades in the background as well, and there's a good handful of upgrades. So we're getting some extremely positive news out into the market where we've been slightly dormant for a short while. So we're starting to crank it up, and it's all good looking forwards. Part of trying to harness and accelerate that movement forwards was currently looking into recruiting a sales resource to help support growth. So the timing and exactly what that looks like is sort of underway at the moment, as is a detailed plan and the budget for Australia. Aside from that, we also have considerations around challenges with COVID. So it's important to remember that the deal was done through COVID, and we've stood by it because the opportunity in Australia is so large. We're taking a long-term view, but we're committed to the team, we're committed to the market, and there's plenty more to come. So we're feeling it's absolutely right to keep marching forwards. This is a very interesting piece now. I think for quite some time we've had a few people in our backyard from foreign countries, and we're now sort of turning that table, and we are looking at sort of expanding international opportunities, some potential in South Africa in addition to Australia. So it really is, the world is our oyster now, on the back of partly Australia, but also having the confidence, I think, to move forwards. Yeah, and always a nice bit of a caveat there about it is early days, it takes time. We've got a great team, but as always, the clock is ticking. We need to get momentum in everything that we do, but the sky is literally the limit out there. There's fantastic opportunities, and we just need to get some traction and capitalise on that. So that's kind of it from Oz for now.
Okay, thanks, Jez. Yeah, I think it's important that we all, as Jez said there, everybody's very busy and looking at the here and now, and that is important. But the exciting bit is what we can do in the future, and certainly Australia as a market, other countries as markets are really very exciting for us, and we can and we will do really well in these areas. So it's good. We could have decided to go back with Australia or not go ahead with it, but it's the right thing hopefully in the long term. So great that we're doing that. And Jez is, as I said the other day, Jez gets up very early in the morning, and that's very handy to look after Australia because he's an early bird. So Jez is working literally around the clock to help support the Australian operation and really move them forwards. And big thanks as well to the guys over here that have been helping them. Getting the first couple of sales on board was brilliant, and all the work that we've been doing here to help Australia grow has been so important. So so look, things are very positive on the other side of the world. Okay, just moving on, I'll chat about corporate a little bit. So we're changing the corporate team, I suppose, to reflect what we said before, which is the opportunities that we have, wanting to work well, etc. Look, last year was incredibly tough in the corporate world, demanding customers, all of that stuff. Customers changing their mind, all of those things. The start of this year has been similar, and that's just kind of the reality of the corporate world. Now, we are always trying to plan and improve and change what we do so that we can do things well. It's worth saying that, remember, we can be really proud of the work that we're doing. We've got some really major players in healthcare using our systems, and we've been doing a great job with them. And if you look at the success of some of our customers, because of the systems, we really are a very important part of their success. So, very busy times, it always has been that way. We do want to obviously, make it a bit easier and make sure we can do things better. So again, part of looking at the gaps, what gaps do we need? We have found things that we can change and do better, and just reshape the team a little bit so that it's easier and not as stressful and all of that stuff. So we have some new faces. Welcome to Emma. Emma joined us on Monday. It's great to have Emma on board with great skills and experience from other companies outside Losing, and bring that in to what is a busy team that's going to grow. It's fantastic. So as I say, big welcome to Emma, and we look forward to obviously meeting up in person when we can, and really welcoming her into the company. We do have other new faces as well, starting in the next few weeks, which is brilliant. Again, just to emphasise, we aren't seeing the benefits of this recruitment yet, because obviously we don't have everybody, it's the same team trying to do an awful lot of work. It is very busy at the minute. Even this week is a really good example. It's incredibly busy, but that will change as we bring people on board, get them up to speed, and start moving forwards. So it's going to be, as I say, a big year for the corporate team. Just run through a few kind of key aims that we have in the corporate world, and again, corporate being anything that isn't sort of our off-the-shelf product range. So Caseload, Pronto, or we don't have this yet, but if we had, say, for example, big corporate customer using only TM3, but mainly it's Caseload and Pronto and that. We've identified that there is Caseload product roadmap work that we need to do. Part of that is why as I said before, we need this focused product development team, so we need to make sure we keep moving forwards with that. I suppose the teams that I suppose we had hoped to make progress on that while we were delivering projects, but that just has not been possible. So this year is a big focus on making sure we move that forward. We will have new projects going live this year, and really to look after those people who have live systems, we need a new team, so multi-skilled, who can effectively look after our live customers. These guys, before I talk about Julian, the team that we're talking about here, the corporate clients team, they have a really, really important role, because as we bring in, for example, new product developments, because our corporate customers, their systems are incredibly complex, so they're using it in ways that have been very bespoke or heavily configured. There's a big, massive impact whenever we bring in an update, for example, and there will be updates and functionality. So this is a team that looks across all of the corporate customers, as opposed to the teams that are just looking at one customer and implementing their project. Okay, so that's a new team, and that's going to be really important going forward. And in some ways, they could be seen as like the gatekeepers of all our customers in the corporate land, because, as I say, they're big, they're important, they're big, complex systems. So we need to make sure, obviously, we're looking after them really well, and that's a blended team with lots of different skills who can react quickly and do things for them. Julianne's doing a lot of really good work at the minute, looking at how we're working in the corporate world. So, as I say, how we deliver projects, what skills we need, people, what meetings we need, all of those things, dealing with all the day-to-day challenges of delivering corporate projects. So that's brilliant. Julianne focusing on that, and that will really give us a very good platform to move forwards. Again, we've said it before, when a new corporate customer lands, it does have quite a big impact on us, much more so than if we have, say, a one-man clinic buying TM3, we can get him or her up and running very quickly without too much disruption, whereas a big corporate customer does bring disruption. So there's always going to be an element of sort of planning for the very best, and then we have to change our plans based on sort of projects that land. So exciting times in that work, and I'm delighted Julianne's helping us so much in that. So that's great. Another area that we're looking at is really what I call here smaller caseflow projects. The projects we have at the minute are really quite big, chunky, in the last years effectively, and we have big customers. I have often approached by companies who aren't as big as an Affiliate or a Vita, they might be a lot smaller. They love caseflow, they love Pronto. At the minute it's hard for us to implement a smaller caseflow, and part of the reason for that is resource. Part of it is also skills, so we need to make sure we have people who can go in and do lots of different things within a small customer. So we do want to sort of move away from not only doing the big stuff but also be able to deliver smaller projects. Part of that comes from the team. Part of it also comes from the product roadmap work that we're doing, so that it is actually easier to implement these projects. So whether it's easier for us to do it or easier for the customer to do it themselves, that's really important. So again, that's a strategic aim, and we want to do it in a called the lighter way. So that will take time to flow through, but certainly in the future we want to have multiple smaller projects, not just the big bulky ones that really take up a lot of time and attention. And then we also have a renewed focus on Pronto. So we mentioned this before, Carol is looking at Pronto sort of in the round, so all aspects of it. Pronto is incredibly important to us. It's an incredibly important part of the corporate systems that we implement, but it's also very important for those clinics who are using TM3, for example, because Pronto needs to work for them. as well as for the big corporate. So we're giving Pronto the attention that it really should. And what that also does is give us a really good platform to upgrade people. So, for example, people who go on Pronto Portal, and we already have thousands in Pronto Portal. Quite soon we will have thousands of mental health practitioners in Pronto Portal, and we want to be able to upgrade some of those to either Click or to TM3. So actually Pronto is really, really important in the whole future of the company. So, Carol's role will be dipping into lots of different areas, and she's going to be fantastic in moving Pronto on. And again, there's lots of opportunities for Pronto even outside of just caseload projects. So, say, lots of stuff to do. Okay, just very sort of conscious of the time, I think we're doing okay. A few things I want to talk about. Ronnie's going to run through Click, and then Juliette's going to run through a couple of bits and pieces. So we'll do the same thing. I'll hit buttons, and we'll try to get the timing right. So, Ronnie, do you want to run through the relaunch of Click?
Yeah, no, certainly. So Click is an incredibly exciting new product for us. Says our relaunch, yes, we do have the old version of Click that we created, but we're really kind of going for it this time and redoing it completely. So we've kicked the project off. A number of you involved with it. I certainly am very involved, and I'm very, very excited. The mental health market obviously is different to the MSK market, but for example in the UK alone, there are upwards of 60,000 individual therapists, and one of the differentiating factors between the MSK and the mental health market is the fact that these therapists generally work alone. They're kind of their own business. And therefore there's potentially a much bigger market for us. So the opportunity for us to create a product that is specific to this market and use all the really positive stuff that we are so good at around clinical notes, around Kyle, you're sharing that around clinical notes and online booking and everything that we do so well has huge potential for us, as well as the fact that the opportunity is international. So here, there are about 60,000 therapists in Australia, for example. There's over 70,000. If we look at the US, there's well over 500,000. The markets are big. By the way, sorry, I don't know what's coming up on the slide, so you might as well. You might as well.
Sorry, there's somebody drilling next to work. That's why I have to mute myself. So, right, okay, yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, thanks, Sam. I go through these, Ronnie, and then you on the call. Ronnie, I did check. So, I suppose if you remember, we are in a good position to actually be a big player in mental health because of TM3 and experience, but also because of our existing corporate clients who work in this market. And then just these bits. So I was just going to welcome Karen as well.
Yes, Karen is the contractor, I suppose. We have worked with Karen on, for example, on the original Buffett project. Karen was the manager of the executive product to its first launch. But I had hoped that by today you would have had some visuals, so some of the new look and feel of what Click will be, the brand and everything. We're not quite there yet with the project. We're working very hard at that in a minute, as well as things like licensing, pricing, all of the things that go with launching a product. So as soon as we do have things to show you, we will do a sort of a bigger presentation and give you a bit more detail behind Click, a bit more detail behind the markets that we're looking at. The corporate client area is very exciting. As Pal mentioned, potentially we're going to have thousands of therapists using public portal within the next year, and if we can get all of those people effectively onto Click, then obviously that gives us a huge head start in the market. and we have the ability to create an effective community of therapists that are using our software. So very, very exciting project. Very soon, hopefully we'll have visuals and we'll be able to show you some of what is coming, and we'll keep you informed as we go along. As soon as we get dates and we know exactly what's happening when, we'll continue to update everything.
Brilliant. And then just some of your ideas as well, just to embarrass Karen a little bit. Karen is also a fantastic artist. And for those of you who may have noticed the brilliant art that we have in the office, Karen actually did those and it was lending those to us. So saying it's brilliant to have her on board, not just as a project manager, it's what we also talk about working with it. So say welcome Karen and great to have you on board.
I don't think it's all next week.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, I can't see her list, but Alabama's
Yeah, for sure the most of recording. Alright, just moving on then, just a couple of things for Juliette. So, Juliette, over to you. I hit buttons.
Great. Thank you. Yes, I will keep it short and sweet because I know we're nearly through time, but I have the pleasure, I guess, of bringing some good news for those who don't already know. That obviously Ronnie has touched on earlier, the fact that we're in a good position, and in line with that, we have been able to look at salaries. So obviously the salary review couldn't take place at the usual point last year, but these are underway at the minute, and the good news is that everybody will be getting a pay rise, which is going to kick in from April. Which is obviously a bit sooner than the usual sort of June, July time that they normally take place. So hopefully everyone's pleased to hear that, and news of this will be sort of communicated to you through your team later in the next couple of weeks. So get that underway. Just want to quickly touch on the return to the workplace. Really, we are not in a position to give you a whole lot of information on this right now, and that's purely because there are just still too much unknown. We don't have timings for when restrictions are going to be lifted. Obviously, it depends on what way things are going with COVID, but it's more just to let you know that we are starting to think about what the return to the workplace is going to look like. So that is something that we're planning. One of the definites, I guess, that we can say is that there will be more of the hybrid office home working structure that we will be offering going forward, and obviously more flexibility around working location and that sort of thing. When we're in a position where we can give you a more informed decision on that, we will do, but just want to let you know that it is in process, I guess. At the minute we are thinking about this, but that's something that you can take away as a given, that there will definitely be more flexibility in the future, and the home office work setup will definitely continue. At the moment, obviously the office is open. I know a few staff members have been in and out, and I think those that have actually found it great to be in there, maybe if it's one day a week, whatever. It's just really nice. I personally really like getting into the office at the minute when I can, just because it's a change from not being in your house the whole time. And it's nice to see a few faces that we maybe haven't seen for a long time. So that situation is not going to change anytime soon. We are working remotely, but the office is open for anybody who wants to use it. Do feel free to drop in if you can. And obviously just to offer the reassurance that the usual kind of safety features are in place in the office. I know a lot of people maybe haven't set it in the office at all since last March. So you maybe don't know what the setup is there, but it's just to reassure you, there is all the usual kind of distancing in place. There are not very many people in at the minute at any one time anyway, so the office is really safe. It is continuing to be cleaned. There are masks sitting want to drop in, and that will continue in the future, obviously, as well.
Yeah, sorry, can I just add to that? That any plans we make will, of course, read up when the time is right.
Yeah.
So, whilst we do talk about how good it is to come into the office, but we're not trying to force people to commit. There are sometimes practices then find the right people. So there's that little card as well. But genuinely, it's just so important to say. Lots of other big companies, really this way now. And that's so hard at the minute for us because there's so little information about what is sort of right and wrong, safe and unsafe. There's so many dependencies. So please be assured that yes, it is good to go in and everything is safe. Certainly the wider sort of bringing people back in will hopefully be done and it's safe to do so and keeping the regulations. And there will also be, as you guys said, flexibility and office. Go on to the next one. Yeah. So the well-being as well.
So quite an exciting thing, I think, to tell you all is that we have been looking into a bit of a well-being sort of coaching program, which we are going to get underway in the next couple of weeks. This is going to involve 5 online sessions with Liam O'Neill. Some of our older Bluefinch staff will know Liam. He's worked with us before. The last time he was in the office, he gave what I thought was a really kind of interesting, sort of inspirational chat, and then joined us on our night out later on that night. But Liam's a really interesting guy who offers this kind of life coaching, well-being coaching, that sort of thing. So this will be done monthly. It will be done, as I say, over 5 sessions. The first kind of initial sessions will probably be more on a team basis, and then with the later ones maybe being more kind of company-wide with everyone involved. But as it says here, there'll be a focus on physical, mental and emotional well-being, and what Liam will do is kind of talk through and offer up some sort of tips on techniques and skills that you can understand and then translate into your everyday sort of being, and obviously hopefully with your work as well. These are things like, just in the brief description that you've given me, things like sort of breathing techniques, understanding how to understand and conquer anxiety, just little tips to sort of help you with things like that. So hopefully you'll find this interesting. We need to sort out obviously when it's going to start, and we'll give you a bit more information on that. It hopefully will kick off within the next maybe month or so, but I'll come back to you and give you a bit more information to let you know when that's starting. And then finally, just a quick reminder that some of our colleagues are doing the Step in the Spring Challenge to raise funds for Marie Curie. I personally have found it a lot harder than what I thought it was going to be. It involves making sure that you do 10,000 steps a day, which is really tough, especially when the weather is miserable and you're trying to get them all in after 7 o'clock at night. But yeah, so the team, the Bluefinch team, consists of our BZ staff heroes, as are listed here. So really big well done to everybody who is taking part in that. It's a really good cause and it's really tough. So any support that you guys can give us to keep us all going would be very much appreciated. I will share the link to the team page in Teams after this meeting. And so far, at last time this morning, I think there was £960 raised collectively by the team so far, which is brilliant. And we have done a total of 192,049 steps so far, which is a lot of stepping, and sadly there is a lot more to go still. So yeah, any support you can give would be much appreciated.
Yeah, guys, I went on last night, and like it's amazing. It really is. And if ever everybody else should support these people, it's now. It's a really good cause, and my God, they're working for it. So if you're not, actually doing it, please, everybody else, just go on, spend a bit of money with them. We're really close to our target, but let's absolutely smash the target. It's such a good cause. Obviously, some people on their page, in their profile, have mentioned Angela. Guys, really, this is a brilliant way to, support the good work that Marie Curie does with people like Angela and their families and all of that. So, yeah, well done, everybody. I know it's only the 11th of March and we've got a long way to go. So I think they really do deserve our money to support them. Okay, well look, folks, that's kind of everything. We're just right on time here. So I'll share these. We've got the recording. I'll share the link to this and you can all have a flick through it. And again, just to reiterate, guys, we know everybody is incredibly busy at the minute. We're moving heaven and earth to try and get, people in. The recruitment has taken longer than we hoped just because of the market, etc. But really, we're up for really exciting times ahead. And yes, it will be another very busy year. It always is. But it's an exciting period of growth for the company. And everywhere we look, there's opportunities. And again, we recognise all the work you're doing at the minute. So thank you so much for all the hard work you're putting in. So that's it, really. And just to reiterate, we're making these changes. If you have any questions, anything like that, come and talk to us because we're open to suggestions, feedback, ideas, etc. So I think we'll wrap it up there. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back in touch, as Juliet said. There's the sessions with Liam that we'll try to get kicked off really soon. And yes, Juliet, if you share that link to the fundraising page, that would be brilliant. Everybody take a couple of minutes and stick a few quid in. It'll make a big difference. Okay, well, look, thanks everybody, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Carl. Cheers.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
You have been chosen by the Old One. Will you seek the everlasting demon souls? Or has the monumental blinded you? Whatever your choice, you are our first visitor. May you be welcome here. Surely you have seen for yourself the pain and suffering that fills this world. But God is merciful and and so created the Old One. A poison to the poison. The Old One will feed upon our souls and put an end to this terrible fool. Don't you understand? No one wishes to go on.
Thy work is done. Slayer of demons, go back above. The Nexus shall imprison thee no longer. I shall lull the Old One back to slumber. My thanks, at last. At last. The end is in sight.
The Old One, along with the Maiden, were swept back into the lulling fog. Boletaria was spared from the demons, but also lost its knowledge of the soul arts. The souls lost during the pandemonium were never retrieved. And today, the unstable world has another monumental to hold its fabric together. A brave new hero of unprecedented power.